Let's start.
Welcome everyone, welcome back to another Open Home podcast. My name is Josh, I'm joined with Juan. Today's episode we're going to go dive deep into the market, the property market for the month of Jan. There has been a lot of change, it's a new year, a lot of people are thinking about selling and we're keen to jump into some insights, what's going to happen there. We've also got some silly topic that Juan wants to talk about, some controversial thing. Anyway, we'll go into that later. And what was the other thing we actually wanted to talk about? You mentioned it. We have a tale of a sale.
We've got a tale of a sale. We're talking about
Mark.
also we've got a facility there for our clients that can access their funds. So if they're short on funds, they can access funds and be able to present their home get a pre-presentation. So we'll discuss that.
No, that sounds good. So let's jump in. So we have the month of Jan. So Happy New Year to everyone out there. This is our first podcast back. A bit of a change format, as you can see. We're actually in the office. So it's a bit different. Feels a bit odd. Don't know if you're the same. We're not looking at each other. We're looking at the camera.
Looking at the camera?
I keep seeing myself. We've got a mirror behind it. It's very odd, but we've got to do what we've got to do. So month of Jan, there's been an influx of property I've seen in our Frankston South core market. I've seen since the 16th of Jan.
I was going to say, Josh, what have you noticed in the listings that are coming on in Jan? What's your perception? What's your take on it?
Well, a lot of the properties that are coming on are at the top end.
Okay.
So I think a lot of
So when you say top end, are we talking
1.5 to 2 mil.
Okay.
So I'm seeing a lot of properties, which does make sense. A lot of people are downsizing. A lot of those properties do have a bit more land too.
Yeah.
That is one thing. And I mean, we had a sale.
Are those properties, sorry to cut you off, mate.
Yeah.
Those properties that you're talking about, are they in original condition or are they done up or are they renovated? Or
a bit of both.
Bit of both.
And I think that's not a bad thing because I think buyers out there very much, we're dealing with a lot and we're seeing a lot of people either want something that's fully renovated, you step right into, or something you want to get your hands absolutely dirty with and add a lot of capital growth too. So we are noticing that.
I was going to say the amount of calls that I'm getting into, there's a lot of people that, and this time of year it always happens. I think, the Christmas table, everyone gets around and the kids certainly make a decision for the parents to say, hey mum, dad, you've been on your 2/3 of an acre or above for a little while, the gardens are getting a bit on top of you, their health's deteriorating and they're saying, hey, let's cash in. So we're seeing a bit of that. I know I've been in contact with quite a few that are looking to downsize, which is great. And then but can I ask a question? Is it a great time for the sellers, for the buyers to be upgrading in this current market? What do you think, Josh? What's your take?
100%. It's the best time. I think we're at the bottom. I think we're definitely...
Well, we are at the bottom based on the Heron Todd White
valuation.
They say Melbourne's
at the bottom of the
at the
market
bottom. Now. So what we're seeing, I firmly believe this. I think we're seeing, we're starting to see some properties. I mean, with the result that we got at Glenbrook, with that, so 10 Glenbrook, as you always say, the market is the market is the market. You've been 100%. Here for 23 years. We could always go, is it the right time? Is it the best time? Realistically, you buy a home to live in. But it comes back to the person.
Exactly.
Their
individual
and their needs. If someone's looking to upsize and they've brought a really good place for a good price, and they're willing to sell their home, if they're waiting for a bull market, well then of course they're going to have to pay a lot more to get into the market or upgrade. So
would you say that there's any benefits being at the bottom of the market? Would you say there's any key indicators that help? Is it a good time? Obviously, if it's at the bottom of the market, it's a great time to buy. Really, that's
100%.
Tom, Dick, and Harry can make that one obvious. Yeah. But what would you say for sellers? What are the benefits for them selling right now?
Well, the benefits are there are certainly a lot of buyers that are relocating. So we saw a lot of buyers last year, particularly in 2023, head back towards the city. So in that, pre-COVID, even whilst we're in COVID times at 2021, 22, we had a lot of people come down from the city. And then last year we saw a lot of the exodus and the Mornington Peninsula not being so hot.
And those markets are so different. Like city market versus peninsula market is completely different.
It's a different ballgame. So we saw the heat come out of the city and attract it onto the peninsula. But what we're seeing now is more and more people are like, you know what, it's a great time to be upsizing. So it's a bit of snakes and ladders that you're moving up. And we're seeing people that we're saying, look, if you're going to stay here, here's your renovations, or this is what a buyer's looking at. What we are predominantly seeing coming on the market is the four-bedders. So we sold that. We had a fantastically renovated property that everyone appealed. The only thing was it was a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
So we know
that was a unique one, right? It was to paint the picture for anyone listening. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, two living, but then you kind of had a study that you could classify was a part of one of the living.
Yep.
Outdoor entertaining area.
Fantastic.
You had an amazing decking and plunge pool. You had a tennis court. You had 3,019 square meters of land. This thing had the bells and whistles. It even had underheating, flooring, all these things that just everything was meticulous.
Everything was done
perfect,
bang on. Look, I sold the property, just so you know. These clients I've dealt with for many, many years, so they brought it off market from me. So the original state of the home and the transformation was extraordinary. So I see that. I think
it was unique though, because 3 bedrooms on a 3,000 square meter block is very abnormal, because normally people who buy that as a family and they normally have 2 or 3 kids.
And that was the hard part, selling that property, and the owners understood that. Look, we limited our marketing in some aspects, but our marketing that we targeted, we really got the right buyers in. And as such, look, we originally put that on the market 1.6 to 1.7. We got some strong interest. We had an expressions of interest. Leading up to that date, we had some solid offers, but not some that the owners were willing to take. And we knew that the right buyer was whether they were in our catchment, but there was a chance that we could get someone new, and we did. And look, we were able to secure a contract of sale pre-Christmas. It did have a sunset clause, which meant that someone wanted to make it subject to their sale of their home, and they had 2 months to get their home
sold. And what a sunset clause, for anyone who is watching, means that we can still advertise the home. So it means that if someone else came along, submitted an offer, they would have still the first rights to go unconditional. So if, say, they were in a position where that owner had just put their property under contract, they would know that it's all going to go through, and they could back themselves in to go ahead with the current contract, but unconditionally. But
what was great,
they couldn't. But
the great thing with my clients, or with our clients, I should say, I did say to them that the best thing about this is we've been a custodian of price here. We've been able to protect their price by getting a great offer. It moved that benchmark up to a level that they were wanting and were happy to achieve.
How did you get that great offer? Because you handle all the strategy. We were quoting 1.6 to 1.7.
Yep.
Now, one thing, and I know how you did it, but I feel like it's a common misconception. What did we do? We had interest inside the range, but not where the owners were wanting it. What did you do with the price after that?
Well, what we did, as the laws to be within the works that we work in real estate, if you get an offer, if we have an offer of, say we get a range of 1.6 to 1.7, and we had an offer of 1.65 and it wasn't accepted by the owners, legally the agency or agents have a responsibility to move that range up, which we did. We actually moved that range 3 times to get it closer to what the owners were wanting, and then as soon as we got it to that one, we moved it to 1.7 to 1.75, and we ended up getting an offer there at 1.7, subject to sale with the sunset clause. And then, interesting enough, we had a buyer that was who was not wanting to make an offer when we had multiple offers coming in.
Yeah, he was there. He'd come through the property 3-4 times.
3 times, yep.
And this actually happens more and more in this sort of market, and with those sorts of properties, you want to make sure you're spending a lot of money. It's not nothing, it's on peanuts. You're not just going to go through and go, oh, perfect, I'm going to do the good old COVID days and just splurge
buyers are more astute. At the moment, the one thing that I would say, they want more, they want to know.
No, and they know a lot more, because it's all out there. Realestate.com has all the data for them. They know what's selling in the area, they know what's comparable. They're also seeing every other home.
So Josh, can I ask a question? What do you say to the buyers when you're managing some of the buyers, like I do and you do as well? What's some of your processes? What do you like to do with the clients?
Well, if I'm going through and a buyer's got interest, obviously you can't, I'm not going to push every buyer if they don't have any interest, but I'll find out what they're looking for. I run through a qualification process, so I'll ask a few questions just to get a gauge on really where they're at in their current situation. Do they need to sell? Do they to buy, or are they financially ready? But then I find out where they are currently and why they're looking to make that move. Because then once I understand that, and if they really like the property, this is when I'm on the phone with an initial inquiry.
Yeah.
If a buyer's come through, I'll go through some comparable sales with them. Say, hey, this is why value is sitting here.
So you're doing a buyer brief. So
yeah.
you're going to explain to them everything that you're talking about in terms of what they're wanting, their needs, but also the schools, the area. You're selling the area, so it's really
but that's a no-brainer. Everyone.
I disagree. I've seen a lot of agents. They don't give a shit about the area. They don't sell the area.
That's why we're Frankston South.
Yeah,
we're core market.
But I'm saying that a lot of agents have, since the internet's come in play, they're very reliant on just, good day, here you go. Yeah, you
realestate.com has made it 10 times easier if you don't have to be a genius to figure out where the schools are now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, but I'm saying it's great. I'm not saying
But we've had some, so to put it into context, we've had some buyers, for example, that have come through our catchment, through properties in Frankston South, and they've asked legitimate questions. Hey, would you think that Frankston South's a better pocket than Mount Eliza? True.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know your answers or you're not sure, you sort of go, look, I don't really work in this area, but hey.
If you didn't know the core market, then you would be.
And that's where I think it's important to know why you got an agent. Because some agents might be prolific in an area and then go down to the poor cousin and it's like, if this property doesn't suit, we're going to get you over here, right? Because you've got a potential bias to.
It's funny. I'm actually seeing a lot of Mount Eliza buyers coming over from Frankston South. It's a little bit of a draw card that I say as well. It's like, hey, don't just listen to me. A lot of Mount Eliza buyers are actually coming over to Frankston South.
Yeah.
And it's
so we're seeing certainly in Frankston South, we're very lucky
100%.
with the buyers. Like we've got buyers that are coming from, within 10K radius. They're generally in this location. But we're also seeing some buyers from uptown as well, which is different to probably. You would say, we saw a few of those buyers at the end of last year starting to trickle down, whereas for the bulk of 2023, the city buyers weren't there. Yeah. Even buyers agents, they weren't interested in coming down here.
No,
we spoke to them and they said, no, look, if we're going to do anything, it's more mainly in Mount Martha, Sereno, Portsea, Flinders. Yep. They want down there for their bigger clients. So I think, look, buyer brief's really, really important. If you're looking at buying, find a pocket, get an idea of where you want to be. And
everyone does ask that question. It's a great question. Ask where is a good spot to be. How is that area performing? How has it performed over the last 5 years?
Yep.
How's it performed over the last 10? And the agent should know.
Yep.
Like I know for a fact, Frankston South has gone up 39.7% in the last 5 years.
In the last 5 years.
And then units 42%. And that's ridiculous.
Now and this is my. It's interesting, and I was watching, something controversial the other day, or this morning, I should say, and it was the Davos event that they have, which is in Switzerland. They do the World Economic Forum. Now, our mate Klaus Schwab runs the show, and he has a big say. Klaus Schwab? He's like Dr. Evil, just put it mildly. But interesting though. Look, you've got to know a little bit about what's going on because. Generally speaking, there's politicians, excellencies, there's royalty, there's the who's who. They had Sam Altman, the AI guy, they were talking about AI and how that's happening. We do a bit of AI with our marketing and hence why we've been able to get really fantastic
results. We do AI with our video content. We generate
it's
a beautiful thing. I'm not denying it, but you wonder where the agenda's planned with it. Yep. Dr. Evil might add in Austin Powers.
Yeah.
They end up being brothers. So, how? Sorry.
Where's he going with that?
No, I'm just saying, like, evil and good come together.
Well, that's in Austin Powers.
Sorry, I'm just making
But I would say that Klaus Schwab.
I don't know where you were going with it.
What I was talking about today was it was interesting. they had a panel of all these people. So they had Germany, Russia, they had India, they had they had Asia. Every continent was pretty much represented, right? So they were talking about the bounce back after 2023. They found out that some countries, their GDP and so forth, had started to climb. Interest rates and inflation were up. So was there much growth? They didn't anticipate that. So in the US, they were predicting that it was going to be a real soft market. It was going to be a hard landing when it wasn't. So so a year ago, they were talking about how bad things were going to be, and in actual fact, it wasn't. And as a real estate agent, our job is to know other markets. So you've got crypto, you've got the stock market, exchange, you've got the cash rate, etc. But you're looking at what property is going to be doing. And interesting enough, I firmly believe this. Generally speaking, there's a big election, and this is what these guys were talking about. There's a huge election in the US, which people know about, and they said, generally speaking, when there's a US election, the markets tend to bounce, and we've seen it be really, really slow. Here in Australia, we've had the worst cost of living, etc., and we're seeing a lot of people now just starting to they're prioritising and structuring their finances a little bit differently. So if they've got multiple properties, they might be like, you know what, I'm going to offload one and alleviate some pressure and some cash flow, because savings across the world is actually, in 2023, it actually dropped off quite considerably. So a lot of people's savings dwindled, and because of inflation went up, it's hurt the cost of living across the world. But they're saying most countries did grow, which they didn't predict. So this year, listening to what they were saying, they predict that it's going to be a really good, strong market, and there's going to be some really good roll on. Whoever comes to power, whether it be Biden who stays in power, or if Trump comes in, Who do you want? I'd definitely be wanting. I think with what's happened over in the US, the amount of war.
Trump.
I'm Trump all the way for sure. Yeah.
Took the mic off that one.
He's certainly someone he's a businessman. He knows how to run a business, but he also, a lot of things that he has said in the past was taken out of context to make him look bad. However, Europe don't like him, and all the people in Davos don't like him, and they pretty much said
Seems to be a common denominator.
But he has a huge following, and there was only there's 54 states. I think it's 54. I think 54 or 64. But anyway, there's 5 states.
Steve Harvey did a video on him saying "Make America Great Again" and spoke about Trump.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
But there's 5 states basically. You got the Republicans and the Democrats. Usually they pretty much, those states will stay the same. There's 5 states that don't stay the same.
Yep.
And they reckon at the moment Trump's winning everything.
Okay.
However, they're concerned with AI, because with how AI can be, it can maneuver and persuade people in whether it be social media or
the
whatever.
media is and like, who's running the media? Do they want Trump?
Yeah,
that's what you got to look at it. Like, they've got their agenda.
They've got their agenda, and that's why these places
so.
in Davos, they definitely don't like him. So you got guys from Facebook, Google, every who's who is representing there, because they're very influential. However, getting back to my point, they reckon the market's going to bounce back, and we're seeing that here in Australia. I firmly believe we're seeing it come down. They're saying we'll expect another interest rate rise, but they're going to start to ease by the end of next year, and 2025 is going to be big. However, they put a disclaimer. The only thing that can stop the momentum of the world moving forward is wars, a big war, if America has to get in. Now that in itself, if that was to take place, well then we could be sitting here in 12 months' time saying, geez, the markets haven't been that great. However, here in Australia, it's looking good. I'm very, very confident, and I think it's going to bounce back.
We deal with
a
lot of people, and good properties, good floor plans, a really good flow to your house. If you're appealing to the majority of people, you don't have a bit of character about it, but not too quirky where you've got some red tiles or green tiles or something that's just, unless something is a full reno.
Yeah. Trades now and materials have gone through the roof.
But back, and we'll use the cash flow as what you're talking about with the world the WHO. Is that what they're called? Oh no, that's World
That's
Health.
World Health.
Jeez.
That's a different story
Let's don't
altogether.
get started.
Yeah. But
No,
no,
we'll
this
talk
is
about-
World Economic Forum, and they come out with an agenda of what they plan to do.
So, but going back to the cash flow and how people are, has been, the cost of living through Australia has been ridiculous. I don't know if you go and buy a bag of chips nowadays, $6.50. What? I don't go and buy a bag of chips. We actually don't run diets, but
I'm on a big diet.
it is what it is. But coming back to when selling, what's this? We've got a system we're currently using. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it helps a lot of owners with their marketing, their
that's where
trades,
cash
their
flow is
styling.
key. So, yeah, we're going into people's homes at the moment, and some of them will say, look, we need to paint the home, but we can't afford it. And most clients don't want to say.
No,
we don't
I don't.
have-
Anyone
like,
would
most
want to
people,
say.
most people will be like, I don't want to say that. However, most people right now that we're going into people's homes, and they're asset-rich, cash poor. So whether they've been retired, they might have their super, but they don't want to touch their super.
Yeah.
The great thing is we've got a facility where our owners, all they need to do is provide quotes, and that's where we can rely on us as agents.
So quotes as in quotes for painting, or styling.
You get all
handyman.
Yeah,
whatever.
you get all
it may
that.
be.
We get all that organised on their behalf.
Yeah.
And basically, or if the client has a painter or has an electrician, they get all these things organised so that when we do go to market, it is presented to the best of their ability, and actually, in actual fact, it could give them more money in their back pocket. So if you can.
What would you say? So if you were selling say everyone came to you and said, "Hey, I want you to sell my house."
Yep.
What would you say the three key ticket items are? In terms of how you would use this, how would you use this facility to your advantage?
Yep.
Right now, whilst you don't have, so it's basically you don't have to pay for anything up front. You pay for it at the end of the campaign. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, Josh. Look, you basically got it's a one-off fee of 6.9% off what you're borrowing. So some clients have borrowed $10,000, so that's $690.
And what would you say would be the best amount? Like the three key ticket items, obviously the marketing.
I think. Well, that gets paid for, but then you've got styling is crucial.
Yep.
However, a lot of the homes we go into, they're already styled, so they don't need to worry. But I think the most important thing is street appeal.
Yep.
And it could be getting a quote, getting a handyman to come in and redo. Could be a concrete. Could be concreting, getting the concrete done. It could be getting it painted. We're seeing a lot of. Just to freshen up can be a huge world of difference.
First impressions, everything.
First impressions, and then I would say.
Would you say paint?
Yeah, 100% painting.
So they're the three.
Yeah.
So out the front. I know I put you on the spot.
Yeah.
I was just more or less curious as to what you would.
You would do
say.
a bit of landscaping at the front, get things what you need to do there.
Yeah.
A painter
And then styling.
And then styling. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're your main three, and then outside of that, if you wanted to do electrical work or if you wanted to do some other things, you've got it does cap itself. But the great thing with this facility, Josh, is our clients don't have to go.
But that would work out to about 15, wouldn't it?
Just 2 seconds. They do not have to go through a credit check.
Yeah, so that's all.
So that's how good's that? Like I know clients that are going into the bank saying, "I've got X amount of money. I've paid off my mortgage. I've got a little bit. My house is worth 1.5, and they won't lend the money."
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. This is a great facility.
100%.
And if it's $25,000 that they have to borrow at 6.9%, work out the maths on that.
No, I'm not working.
You're not going to work it out, but that's where.
Probably figure.
But
look, maths is my strong suit,
it?
but not now.
Well, you put me on the spot. But the good thing is.
Was ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. The great thing is, it's so it's very feasible. So look, a lot of our clients, they don't necessarily need to tap into that. They've already got it. But we'll go in. My job as a listing agent, we do that. We put our buyer's hat on, look at what a buyer would look at. And we'll say straight away, hey guys, first impressions at the front, you need to do this, and this. We'll give them a checklist. Okay.
What's and a fresh little, like you said, those three key things are so crucial. When you walk in and you see the property straight away from the outside, appearance is everything.
Yeah.
If it's being maintained really well, buyers love that.
Oh yeah.
If they
100%.
if they feel, and I heard a comment actually, it was really funny the other day. A buyer walked through with me. I was doing a private, and they said, "This house is beautiful, but it's not like one of those homes that has been done up just to sell. you can tell they genuinely care about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can tell those differences. Obviously you can't, it sounds bad, if you say you're selling an investment and you just try and turn it over and you try and polish a turd, you can't do that. Like, it's hard, it's not that easy. I would say, if you're caring about your home, you are going to get a better price organically, because the more you've looked after it, the better it's going to be. The better nick condition, and those little 1%ers, when you add the paint, the plaster looks beautiful anyway.
Yeah. And it could
the
be
outside looks amazing.
We've had some people that we need to get plastering done, so
Yeah.
a quote for a plaster and then a painter. So there's so many things. As a real estate agent, our job is, and look, we love it when we get those properties. We walk in and there's nothing to do there. It's like a display home. The amount of times that we will put properties on that look like display homes, if you had to see them 3 months earlier, they wouldn't look like that, because we've been able to allocate the time and the energy and the resources that we can access.
Oh,
and
no,
we've got fantastic trades on hand. So we've got professional painters, we've got stylists, we've got removalists. We've got a plethora of people that we use and we recommend them because they do a fantastic job. We're not going to give someone who's going to do a C grade job, because at the end of the day, if you spend $1, you want to make $3. And that's the bottom line. So. And
now the people we partner with, we want to be, they're a part of us. They're a team. Like, we don't want to do a bad job. We like to do good jobs. So it's the same with everyone around us. So what was the other thing? What's that?
I reckon that's it, Josh. I reckon, mate, it's well over half an hour.
That's all done. Yeah,
it's all done. I reckon we'll come back next week. I've got some really good questions I want to ask you, looking forward to it. Looking forward to a big 2024.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a great start to your year. Obviously, this podcast is sponsored by Merchant Realty Group. For buying and selling needs, please contact your specialist. See you guys in the next one.
And guys, if you need any questions, feel free to yell out. Put them in the comment box. We'd love some content. If you want some other content, we're more than happy to talk about that as well. Cheers.
Awesome. See you guys.